This is my first time filming with a microphone, so I'm excited to see how this video is going to turn out. And I actually finally have my little setup. This isn't officially what it's going to look like. I do want to change it up a bit, but I'm really excited with all my little decorations that I got. Anyways, so hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be filming something that I've been wanting to sit down and film for a little while now, but there were a lot of reasons why I didn't, I guess. Some of them were just like, you know, like health related. I really wanted to make sure I was in like a healthy, stable like mindset before I could actually sit down and talk about something like this and give people advice. And one thing that I want to say, a disclaimer before I really get into this, is that this video isn't going to be bashing or hating on anybody that is in school, anybody that is, you know, going for their doctorate, bachelor's, associates, whatever degree you're kind of going for. That's great. That's amazing. This video is just, it's just my opinion on my experiences with my college education and why I decided to quit. So anyways, yeah, there's that little spoiler. So I quit school. I'm gonna give you a little background information before that. I had graduated high school in 2016. I took a year off after I graduated because I couldn't end up being able to afford the school that I had wanted to go to. It was in England actually, and it just wasn't really possible for my family and our financial circumstances, so that didn't really happen. So I ended up taking a year off and I worked full-time. During my year off, I discovered kind of, you know, exactly what I wanted to do. I got a little bit closer to finding myself and finding who I am, and I realized that I wanted to do something environmental. So after taking that year off, I went to a state school where I studied environmental conservation and sustainability, and I was getting a dual major in sociology as well. And basically, I wasn't exactly too sure where I wanted to go with that degree. I guess kind of my mindset at the time was that I had to go to college and it had to be something I was passionate about. That's what I thought. That's what everyone thinks. That's what society teaches us, is that you just have to go to college for whatever you're passionate about, and then life will kind of just take you from there and you'll find a job in it. But that wasn't right, because as I loved my education, don't get me wrong. One thing I have always been very, very passionate about is gaining knowledge and gaining an education. I think that there's not many things as valuable as something like that, and it's definitely something that I've always valued. And where was I going with this? I lost my train of thought. I loved what I was learning in all of my classes, but the problem was that there wasn't any kind of job that I could get from this major that would have kept me happy. Growing up, my number one goal always was to be happy. It was never to be successful. It was never to have money. And a lot of that came from the house that I grew up in. I grew up in a house of parents who struggled financially and parents who had, you know, settled for jobs that would just pay the bills. They weren't happy. They worked a 9-to-5 job, and I could just see how hard it was on them. They were not happy with their lives, and it wasn't even just in my home, it was everywhere. Like the teachers that I had, they were always so miserable. Like everyone was just always so unhappy, it seemed as if, and that was something that I always wanted to prevent. And one of those things I promised myself was to never settle for a job. And as much as I love environmental conservation, don't get me wrong, I'm still going to continue to use my passion for that and try to make change in society, but there wasn't any kind of a job that I would want through that degree that was worth it for me. I knew growing up that I never wanted to work the kind of job where I just, you know, went in every single day 9-to-5, clocked in, clocked out, and that just wasn't what I wanted to do. I've always wanted to be free and independent. I've always wanted to not really have a boss, if that makes sense, you know, obviously like entrepreneurship. And when my second year, so I took after that year off, I did an entire year at a state school studying environmental conservation and sustainability and sociology, and then I moved back in this year for my second year. I was there for a week before I decided to quit and come home. It was really, really, really tough to make that decision to to just, I don't know, a week into moving in, being able to say that I didn't want to do it anymore and deciding that I wanted to come home, it's scary and it's stressful. I was afraid of what my parents would say. I was afraid they were going to be disappointed. I was afraid they were going to be mad. And I wasn't really too sure what the circumstances were going to be. And when I came home, I was very unhappy for a little while. It's been like a month or so now. And I was confused. I felt like I had taken a huge step backwards. But as time went on, as a couple of days went on, basically, I realized that I didn't. I did something that not a lot of people have the guts to do, and here, this is me in this video trying to give you guys the guts to do it if this is what you want to do with your life, because a lot of people just aren't willing to take that risk inside of them to actually step out of their comfort zone and do what they feel might be right, because everyone else around them is doing what they're currently doing, and that's what society is telling them to do, and they see people succeed that way, and so they think that that's what they have to do. But the whole idea is that you don't. You do not have to do anything that society tells you that you have to do. One of the most valuable things that I learned in a lot of my social classes is about social norms and the way everything around us is a social norm, and we do things just because it's a normal everyday life of society, that society has taught us to be normal, if that makes sense. And education is one of those, because we think that we have to go. But a lot of the things one of the number one things that people don't realize as well is that education is nowhere near as cheap as it used to be. Back in the day, college education, I'm not sure the exact prices, so I'm not gonna like give a ballpark or anything because I don't want to be completely wrong, but they were a lot cheaper back in the day. Nowadays, a college education can take people, depending on what degree they get. If you get, I'm sure like if people become surgeons or other things, I'm sure they can pay off their loans sooner. But for people that work and make the average income, which I believe is around like $40,000 a year, it takes them up until their 50s to pay off their student loans. And I realized that wasn't what I wanted to do. I always wanted to travel. That was one thing that I always knew. Growing up, I always felt stuck inside my town. And it was weird because it was something that I discovered even at a young age. When I was like 11, I wasn't happy in my town. I don't know, I just kind of felt stuck here. And I knew that I wanted to get out. I wasn't really too sure where I wanted to go, but I started a list of places I wanted to go when I was about 13, and I started a list on my phone, and it's about like this long now of all these different places that I want to visit. And I just kind of realized that if I'm going to be getting an education and I'm getting all of these loans and putting myself in all of this debt, when I graduate, you have 6 months before you have to start paying it off. And so I realized if I did that and then I got a job 6 months later, I'd be paying off my student loans, but I wouldn't really be saving the money to travel. I wouldn't be as free as I am right now. You know, like when you graduate high school, you're at a point in your life where you can literally do anything you want. You don't have to go and put yourself in debt. You don't have to go work a 9-to-5 job yet. You can do whatever you want. You're so free, and it's a point of freedom that is so valuable. It's so important to use that freedom. And I realized that. And so after a year, I realized I want to do that with my time now, because, you know, it's not like I have a family holding me back. It's not like I have a career holding me back. It's not like I have a husband. I don't even have a boyfriend or anything to be holding me back. And so I thought, like, what am I doing? Like, why, if there's nothing holding me back, why am I not doing it? And so with that, I came to the decision to quit school and come home. Sorry, my throat's like very dry. The weather has been so dry here the last couple of days. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but these drastic weather changes from the summer to the fall, at least in the area where I live, which is New Hampshire, weather changes like that which is just another huge sign of climate change, but that's a different kind of video. We don't really need to get into that right now. Anyways, yeah, so I realized that I'm never gonna be this free again. One of the #1 places I want to go, I've always kind of had the dream of living there, but obviously I don't really want to say that until I've actually been there and visited it. But I plan on doing a holiday work visa in Byron Bay, Australia. It's a place that I've always wanted to visit. I think it's beautiful. That entire area kind of lives the lifestyle very similar to mine, which would make it a lot easier for me to be happy, I think. It would be a lot easier for me to find myself and find happiness because I'd be surrounded by the lifestyle that I practice, and that is a lot of natural healing. You know, I like a lot of, I'm very big on, people down there are very big on saving the environment. They're big on veganism. They're big on like non-plastic use. They do a lot of like yoga, meditation. There's a lot of Buddhists. Like it's an area that I would feel comfortable in because I wouldn't have trouble, I don't want to say fitting in, but I wouldn't have trouble finding the things that I need to in order to survive, I guess. I don't know. I have considered living somewhere where it's warm all year round. I'm not sure whether I will, but I guess we'll just see how this goes. I'm planning to go within the next year. I am working full-time right now, so I'm trying to save up money, of course, to actually pay for a program if it does cost money, to pay for the application, to pay for a passport, things like that, and to obviously just have money to take with me when I do go. But yes, that is one of the places that I want to go. One of the funniest things, though, about me quitting school is people's reactions when I say it with such a positive connotation. Like when people ask me, like when I went back to work, people were like, oh, like if some people asked me how school was, they just assumed I had come home for a weekend. There were some people who were like, oh, what's going on? Like, why are you back? And I tell them, I'm like, oh, I quit school. And they're just like, oh, like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm 100% completely fine. This is what I want to be doing with my life. And just because it's not what society does doesn't make it wrong. And I want to put that out there too, in that it's just so important for you to find the passion inside of you and take that risk. There's somebody I follow on Instagram that you guys would actually probably like. I'm a big cannabis supporter. I am very big on medicinal cannabis, and there's this lady called Lizzie Jeff, and she calls herself, it's a medicine woman, and she's somebody who practices a lot of cannabis. And I had messaged her actually after I had quit school because she had posted something. I'll show you guys her Instagram just in case you guys want to follow her. She's at Lizzie Jeff. And yes, okay, there we go. Now it's focusing. And she's basically just like a big cannabis supporter, and I don't know if she has any strains after her. It'd be pretty dope if she does, but she's very big on empowering women, and she's big on, you know, just getting people to really find the passion inside themselves and take risks. And I had messaged her after everything, and she said to me, this was one line she said that just kind of like popped out to me, and it said that things always feel confusing and uncomfortable right as you're entering a new breakthrough of clarity and abundance. And it's something that was really important because you're gonna feel wrong almost. When you find if you find the risk inside of you to do something big, whether it's school or not, whether it's finding the risk to quit your job, whether it's finding the risk to do anything, it's gonna feel uncomfortable because you're gonna feel like you don't really know what to do, because all you did know that you had to do was that you had to quit. And that's okay. Quitting isn't a bad thing. It's you always just have to do what's gonna be good for you and what's gonna make you happy. That's something that's so important. You know, stop doing what's gonna make the people around you happy. Stop doing what's gonna make your parents happy. Just do what's gonna make you happy and what's gonna make you successful. And the thing is that successful has so many different definitions. You know, for example, me, my form of success is being happy. For some people, their form of success might be getting out of their house. For some people, their form of success might be quitting their, office job and trying to get something more exciting. And the thing is, too, is that it's never too late. It doesn't matter how old you are either. It's so important to find these passions, and it's so important to pursue them. Because at the end of the day, there's nothing more important than you being yourself and finding yourself and being happy. Because there's nothing that compares to the feeling that you have when you're so in tune and in touch with yourself and your soul. I lately have discovered that through quitting school and practicing more meditation and yoga and just a lot of different things. And I've been able to find myself more on a deeper level that I've never been able to find before. And it's something that is so pure, and it's something that I really wish that everybody could experience. And I really hope that you guys can, because it's just something that's amazing. And it's really important to be in touch with yourself in that way, because it's really important for your health, and it's really important for society, to be honest, because if you're a happier person, then you're going to radiate more positive and happy vibes to the universe, and the universe will in turn give that back to you and give it back to everybody else, and it'll just create a happier environment. And so I just wanted to make this video. Again, I'm not bashing anybody who goes to school. This video is just primarily to tell people to do what you want to do. Do what feels right inside of you. Even if you're in your 6th year of getting your doctorate, if you're in your 5th year of getting your master's, but you feel like you've gone too far, you haven't. Just stop and just do what feels right inside of your heart. And if what feels right inside of your heart is staying in school, then do that too. Just do what is going to make you happy and what is going to help you find yourself, because there's seriously nothing more important. And I know I keep saying this, I sound like a broken record. I've said this several times in the video. There's nothing more important than finding yourself, loving yourself on a deep level, and just nourishing and caring for yourself. You have to feed yourself, you have to feed your soul what it needs, which is love and kindness, and you have to do what's gonna, provide you with that love and kindness. And I don't mean to sound like a TED Talk or anything. Not a TED Talk. I don't know. I sound like some kind of just inspirational woman, and I don't mean to sound like that. I'm just saying it because I really wish there are a lot of self-discoveries I've made through hardships I've gone through that I want other people to be able to experience. I want people to know that hardships are just hardships, and you're going to get through it, and you're going to be okay. And as long as there's nothing to be scared of as long as you're following your heart. You know that if you're following your heart, you're going to end up happy. So there's nothing to be scared of. If you quit your job and you're unemployed, you followed your heart. So just continue it. Continue to follow your heart. Do what you were going to do next. Whatever it was, maybe it was nothing. That's okay too. But just continue to follow your heart each step of the way, and you're going to be successful and you're going to be happy. And I just think that that's so important. Thank you again for watching this, you guys. I hope that some of you got something out of this, and I hope that some of you guys can find that risk within you to do whatever it is that you're afraid to do, because don't let fear control you. Anyways, all right. Bye guys, I love you. Have a lovely day and be happy.